Thank you, David, and great to be back again. There's still a discussion going on in the tables. And so today I'm going to look at a new topic for me. This is the first time I've actually spoken on this one. And it was actually spurred by the Chartered Accountant Worldwide group. That's why I chose this topic today. Full disclosure, the title was generated by AI. But that was it. I didn't do anything else. And so the reason I chose this title, Chaos to Kids, is on building resilience through life's rhythms. Looking at resilience, I wanted to look at it through a new lens that perhaps would give us something to really talk about today in our groups and see if there's a way to look at this from an accountant's perspective that we haven't examined before. Because resilience is very situational. Resilience is something that depends on the context. So it can be many different things, many different aspects. So it's difficult. It's like using the word accountant. It's sort of too general in some ways. So I wanted to create something a little bit more particular that we could get our teeth into today and hopefully leave with some value out of this session as well. Thank you, David, and the CAW for inviting me back. And who was in the session last year that I did? Okay, there's a significant portion. So you remember what I did then, do you? Oh, good, thank you, Peter. All right, so what I like to start off with, so everybody, this little thing, Philip. All right, so keep Philip on his toes here. This is for Chris here. So Chris, you're going to lead the way. So everybody on your feet, please.
Wrong team.
Oh, what do you mean the wrong team? The All Blacks? Oh, right, yeah, not the World Cup one, sorry. We should have had Ireland up here, but we're going to do the Hindu squat to make sure everybody is awake. So everybody on your feet. Jessica, you may need to take off those shoes. I don't know if you're safe too. We're going to do the Hindu squat. So Hindu squat is a way to engage your brain as well as your body. We're looking at a multi-dimensional way here. The wellspring of energy comes from the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit. So we've got to get them all activated together in rhythm. That's the cadence, okay? So after 3, I'm going to ask you to put out your arms first, like this. Okay? Can you hear me okay? All right, after 3, you're going to pull in your arms and you're going to shout boom as loud as you can. And then the squat bit is you're going to go down and touch the ground. And then back up. And we're going to keep going like that until we get a nice steady rhythm, until we lift the roof off this. Are we clear? Are you ready? Are you okay with this, Peter? You're not going to die or anything. Is there somebody who does first aid here? Because I'm not covered, David. All right, so, okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom. And down and touch the ground. Keep going. Boom. All right. Come on. Boom. I'm not hearing you. Boom. Get the rhythm going. Come on. Boom. All right. And boom. You're not very good on the rhythm, okay? Boom. Boom. Okay? Boom. Now we're going to keep going until I hear you. Boom. All right. Keep going. Squat. Boom. And 25 more. Boom. Okay, one more. Big one. Boom. Ah, lovely. Lovely. I can't remember last year, did I?
No.
Yes. Last year, did I tell you this? Actually, now we're going to have a little nap in the afternoon. Perfect. One of the bonuses from today, don't frighten us, Peter. I'm out of breath. 2 bonuses from today. Did I tell you the joke last year about the altar boy with no arms?
No.
Did I tell you that joke? Doesn't ring a bell? I'm glad there's one Irishman in the room that gets that one. So for those that do hang around and pay attention, I'm going to have a special secret that I'm going to share with you today. It will allow you 68% reduction in heart rate disease, heart attacks and strokes. So there's no other pill or medicine you can take for a 68% reduction in heart disease and heart attacks, but it's only for men. I'm sorry. I only know the rule for men. So if you pay attention, women, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you're listening, I might just share with you in the course as well what we're looking at. So let's examine this chaos. What does it mean, chaos? Now, I think it was Andrew earlier talked about Winston Churchill's quote. Do you remember it? Anybody remember what it was?
Well, the change is
To improve is to change.
The
To be perfect is to change often. And so, change is really the cutting edge of this. Adversity is the crucible of growth. And when we come to working in resilience, it's about understanding the nature of change and why it's essential. Nature abhors a vacuum. It's not about getting balance, it's about getting harmony. It's a process called homeostasis. And so we are constantly getting back into harmony. And if we didn't have the imbalance, we would never look for it. If we didn't have suffering, if we didn't have all the challenges and, dare I say, discomfort, we would never change. We would stay in this sort of simple state of consciousness and, there'll be order. We would keep it in order. But that is not who we are, people, is it? So life is chaotic, and sometimes we stay in the chaos. We actually like the chaos, we stay in it. And it's not, when we know a life where you're living in chaos and it has low altitude, your resources diminish and it limits what's possible. And then looking at understanding how to embrace that chaos to find that order or to find a reorder. And so I want to explain to you today why I chose this topic of rhythm. Because, somebody mentioned in that last talk about rhythm. If we did it every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, there's rhythm in it. There's rhythm. And we all have personal rhythms. Life is full of rhythms. Think about it. Dance. All about rhythm. It's a universal song, isn't it? When you think about rhythm, the pitch and the space between the notes give the notes life, don't they? It's not just notes. It's not just a bunch of notes that you're going to play. It's the rhythm that brings the song to life, isn't it? And so, like each of us, we each have a rhythm. And so does an organization, and so does a team have rhythm. So how do we tap in on this ancient rhythms that we always have had? It's not about time, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about time. Time is finite. It's about understanding energy and where energy comes from and where rhythm comes from in our life, and the importance of creating rhythms and cadence to develop those skills to be able to apply them to a meaningful challenge. Now, one of the professors up the road at Columbia University talks about you can't train resilience. It's about training flow. Interesting. What does that mean? What does it mean to be in flow? Something that you practice and drill so that you become really good at it, and it's autotelic. It actually is self-fulfilling. It gives you joy to do it. Think about what that might look like. And then it's about building in flexibility, adaptive flexibility. So it's components within resilience. That's why I say it's not just about taking resilience and going, I'm resilient or I'm not. It's about really finding out what are the things that give you joy in your life? What are the things that you do for the love of it? What are the things that you will, are drawn to and will keep you hanging in there and you pull through because it's like getting through your final exams. Remember that? You know it's going to be better after you get through them, so you keep hanging in there and pulling through. But it's so let's look at this concept of rhythm then, and how we connect with the rhythms in our life. What's some of the rhythms that you might have in your life? What's some of the rhythms that we're subjected to every day?
Gin and tonic.
Yeah, well, what is that rhythm, Peter? It's like 4 o'clock somewhere, is that it? Yeah, gin and tonic might be part of the rhythm.
Well, 2:30.
Oh, I can see now. Okay. What other rhythms?
School.
Excuse me?
Picking up kids from school.
Right, picking up the kids from school. There's a rhythm there, so that you don't forget it. It converts into being an automatic, systemic thing that you build into your day. What other rhythms? What about nature? What are the rhythms of nature? Think about it. Sleep. Well, that's some of our own biological rhythms, absolutely. Sleep is a key one. Spring, the seasons are all part of rhythm. Yeah, what else?
Day and night.
Day and night, yes, the circadian cycle, the 24 hours.
Tides.
Pardon?
Tides.
Tides, yes. So the way the moon works, the tides, the waves, the winds, if you look at, in biological terms, we have, the sleep cycle you mentioned, or the circadian cycle, we have ultradian cycle, we have menstrual cycles, we have, there's just, the list goes on and on. We are surrounded by rhythms. And so when we start to look at how do we tap in, because if we get out of sync with our rhythms, what happens? Chaos. When you get out of sync with your sleep rhythm, what happens? That's where we get into trouble and we start to have problems in our life. So looking at it from the perspective of getting back in rhythm and seeing what can you do to step into this place of rhythm. And so this is our definition of resilience from the Resilience Institute. It's not something that's, we have to be humble with this. Because when you look at any rhythm, even the rhythm of taking on challenges in your life, well, we're looking at learning, we're looking at adapting, we're looking at perhaps striving for something and then maybe failing, and then bouncing back and then growing from the experience. In fact, in 75% of cases, you grow from a setback. You grow after going through a challenge. So does it mean then that we need challenge to grow? Would you grow if you weren't challenged? Would you grow if you weren't getting a little bit uncomfortable? And it's our relationship with that change that really is why we get into this profession, I suggest. We're not afraid of a challenge. So when you're looking at increasing your perspectives, thanks Philip. So when you look at creating balance in your life, thank you, the ability to navigate challenge. So 3 out of 4 cases you actually grow. The second is, when you grow, we follow certain rhythms and practices to support that vitality. There's a quote by John Butler Yeats talks about, happiness is neither this nor that, but simply growth. We are happiest when we're growing. Think about it. When are you feeling most in joy? When we grow, we're actually feeling like we're progressing. When we accomplish something, we have that satisfaction. But as we get older, sometimes we get a little bit more comfortable. And we don't like to push those boundaries, do we? Do we?
No.
No. We settle into a very comfortable rhythm. And we don't like to even challenge ourselves. But as we start to take bounce and grow and connect them with our daily rhythms, remember, this is why life is dynamic and why we're probably on this earth, is to learn to grow consciously together, to work together with other people. And that gets us to connect. It's the connection with ourselves, the connection with others, and ultimately connection with nature as well. Because nature is a wonderful teacher, as I'll show you shortly. And so, I'm making your life very difficult at the moment, Philip. Do you just want to stay up there? You're welcome to. And so when we talk about connection, beautiful book on it, by the way, is Lost Connections by Johann Hari. If you're a reader, check out some of the work he has done on lost connections. And ultimately then the focus of all of this is flow. The focus is to do something in your life that you love and to apply these skills. If you watch any tennis player, any athlete, they are drilling the practices every day. They are learning to deal with their own mindset. Do you want to put it in the other side, Philip? Will that be better for you? You can just see if it works better. If it does. Thank you. Sorry, we're using my computer because it'll become obvious in a few minutes why. Hopefully that will stay there. Thank you. So when we start to look at focus, we need to apply all of the other drills to get to focus. We need to start to realize that it's about the practices that we do every day that helps us, the daily rhythms. As I mentioned, those rhythms come from 4 different well springs. So the first one is the body, the basic rhythms of the body. We're going to talk about some of those in a moment. And then we're going to look at some of the rhythms of not only the body, but then how we look at energizing that body. This is the resilience spiral that we use there, and we're looking at the 3 dimensions. When we're in a state of readiness, that's where our body and our energy is engaged. So we're looking at body, mind, emotion, and spirit. That's really what we're performing here, getting up into high performance. But also appreciating that we go down the spiral. And there's certain things that we do that leads to resilience failure. And I'm going to talk about those very briefly today as well, because that's also important to make sure that people know how to take care of themselves, have insight into what's affecting them, And more importantly, how does this affect your team? For those people that lead others in the room, this is really important for you to have a grasp of for yourself. Okay? Now, this is the reason I chose this particular topic. I took a sample of the first 260 people that had done our global resilience diagnostic for CAW. Many people have done that resilience assessment that was sent out from each of the institutes about a month ago. Okay, thank you, David. So, all right, at the end, I'm going to give you a barcode, QR code, so you can actually participate. But the Resilience Institute, together with 16 different institutes around the world, are doing a global state of resilience across all chartered accountants globally. And at least there's going to be 20 or 30 more doing it today, I hope. But it's important to realize that we have, this was just the first 250 or so people that did it. I wanted to see what was the sort of key factors that were coming out of it. One factor that came out of it right away is that based on just the first couple of hundred people, the resilience ratio is very low. The ratio, I don't have to explain it to you guys, but the resilience ratio is your assets to your liabilities. So you've got an asset, would this be an asset test ratio or an asset ratio? It is your assets and liabilities. If you look at 1.36, your altitude is not that high. You've got 1.36 to 1. Would you be happy with that if it was an asset ratio? I think it was 2 to 1 used to be the asset ratio, wasn't it? Was that an ideal one?
2 to 1.
What was it?
No, that's right.
2 to 1, yeah. The asset test was 1 to 1. God, it's coming back to me. So, what also was interesting is out of this first couple of hundred people, 64 people were underwater. 64 people out of 259 were less than 1 to 1. Now wait, and when you do yours, you can see where you're at. Because how you live each day is how you live your life. And so, I wanted to see, well, what was the sort of key topics that were sort of popping up that I could develop a program around and I talk around today. It's not hard to discern. When you're in the red here, it's a risk area. We've talked about risk all morning, haven't we? Have we looked at the risk to you and your people? Have you talked about the risk to your team? In fact, I have some global accounting clients at the moment who are not only looking at how that job's done profitably, but what was the return on that particular engagement from a personal perspective? How did we do on empathy? How did we do on engagement? How are the people? Have you thought about that? Not just profit on a job or a client engagement. How is your team and how are you measuring your team? So when we look at success in future, and this is something to get your thinking cogwheels turning, when you look at success in the future, would you just be looking at profit in financial terms, or will you look at how is our team traveling? How is our individuals doing? Am I caring for my team? So success across the 3 levels, you could call it triple bottom line if you want, Peter, because it's an I, we, and it. So it's no longer enough to say, oh, we're making money as a company. That's very much the impersonal. What about the interpersonal? How are we doing as a team? What's our culture like? What's the feeling of trust and solidarity in this team? And on each individual level, how's that person doing? How is my team doing? From a well-being perspective, from a mental well-being perspective, from a feeling of fulfillment, from meaning, all of those things, from empathy. How are you going to measure how your whole team are doing? Because that may be your duty of care going forward. That may be your S of the ESG. Am I allowed to say ESG? That may be the social. When you take care of your clients, your customers, and your people. Right now, this is not okay. This is a big risk. And it's just based on a little microcosm. But I guarantee it's not going to change over the course of a bigger populace. What you're seeing here is severe mental and cognitive overwhelm. People are overloaded. And the interesting thing, we've never lived in a more affluent time, and our medicine cabinets have never been as full. We've never had so many labor-saving devices and been so overworked. So you think AI is going to change any of that? We'll still be crazy. Okay? We'll find something to do. Because that's the nature of human beings. We are amazingly adaptable creatures. But right now we are suffering. We've created a global village, but yet we've never felt us so alone. What are we doing wrong? Are we looking in the wrong direction? I think there needs to be a happiness audit. Who would sign up for that, happiness auditors? Peter. And what would they say if they came into your firm? What would they say if they looked at your team? Are you even paying attention to what the impact is of the choices you make every day, the rhythms? Are you following the rhythms of nature? Or are you so busy? Mindless busyness causes this. Overload and disengagement is mindless business and multitasking, David. Multitasking is part of the problem here. No, you're a computer. There's no such thing as multitasking, absolutely. What are you going to say there, Peter?
Multitasking is absolutely essential in my view. You've got to have the ability to think about yourself, your employee, and the society. You've got to have all of these things in play all the time.
Of course, and I think
That is where you're going.
stakeholders is different than multitasking. Multitasking is like you're trying to do multiple things at once, like literally two or three jobs. And not doing them all very well. You might be thinking about them all at the same time.
They're all interconnected.
Of course.
They're not separate.
Yes, okay. And let me show you something on that in a few moments, if I may, please, Peter. So look at where the yellow areas then are. Look at the areas that are in amber, because they've got potential to turn green or red. And finally, where the green areas are. So there's a lot of really powerful mental and emotional and even spiritual strengths up here. You can see them on the top. Down the bottom, we are just constantly in what we call suffering. And a lot of people are living this every day and they're not realizing they're living it. It's like the boiled frog. And the altitude is very low because we're living in a chaotic state. There's no rhythm to what we do. When you have got rhythm, your creativeness and your expressiveness grows. It's like a dance. You feel, when life is good, you feel in rhythm, don't you? Even if you have had a hard time and been working on a deadline and you can do it for a short period, but we have a challenge with high performance, and our bodies cannot stay in peak performance. But we must build in recovery and relaxation. Rest and recovery is a part of the cycle. It's a part of the rhythm. Okay? So, I won't labor this too much, but it was the reason why when I looked at it, and I saw the distribution, you love distribution curves, don't you? You can see that a significant portion of this group is between challenge and compromise. And again, we're only looking at a very small micro set of the total here. But do your own, I'll give you the code at the end, do your own assessment, it'll then go into the hat. Maybe you'll change the curve. But we want to help move people through establishing strong rhythms and routines and rituals and mastering those. Again, nothing has changed in the last 40,000 years around this. We still know and live by the sun. We are always on the clock as human beings. We live by the clock, light and day. Your body is not changing in that way. In fact, we keep pushing the edges. We keep reducing the amount of sleep. In fact, it has fallen from 7.9 hours to 6.5 on average. So we're cutting down even on our basic needs, which no other mammal does. We are the only mammal that cuts down on our basic needs. This was an interesting one. Now, I'll try and explain it, but the age group shows those in their 80s had the highest resilience. Peter, are you sure you didn't do this? Look at the person in the 20s, and that's down to just poor management of yourself. Like, people in their 20s have different priorities, and they think they're invincible.
I was.
Yes, you got away with it. You got away with it. Like life is going fast and we're in a hyper-stimulated environment right now. We are totally, on the clock, on social media. We're focused and we're connected to everything. It's a very tough environment right now. Unless you start to master this, you need to master your own rhythm and be like a conductor and find what is right for you. It's like you've got this almighty orchestra playing all different parts, and you have to learn the different rhythms that work together. But look at how it increases. The resilience ratio is increasing through the generations. Now, I haven't seen that before. It's true, resilience does get better with age. But this is a fascinating one. And we know people at different, maybe in their 30s, have young families, and there's things like that, and are compromised. But when you look at it going like that, it's a very interesting case study to see what is happening in our profession, where the average age is 38 and a half, is that right? Okay, male, female. Not unusual, females slightly less on the resilience ratio, an average of about 1.24. Again, that's low altitude. It means like you're flying close to the ground. So you might be able to take one knockback or one setback, but not a lot of buffer there. And a part of building a resilience or a capability around flexibility is you need to have safe failure. You need to have a buffer. It's like you don't want to be down to your last dollar, do you? And maybe going to lose your job. That's not a good recipe. So start to plan out for things. During the pandemic, 40% of Americans had less than $400 in their bank. 40%. So there's a lot of anxiety there. There's a lot of fear, and it's around finances. There's always jobs for good finance people if you know it. So the reason I pulled out this, some of our strengths is that we are really strong on some of these things where it's around thinking. We've got great minds. And really good empathy, good levels of even positivity. You can see the feel thing, flow. That top end of the spiral, you can see some really good qualities here. Now, how do we apply them to ourselves? How do we start with ourselves first? Because one of the things that I focused on was the lowest strength you had was rhythm. That took a while to get there, didn't it? That's why I picked rhythms. Because the lowest thing you got, and surely tell me this is not true, accountants are big into rhythm, aren't they? Don't you have like your tax seasons and all of that every year? You do the same thing every year. Accounts, year end, 30th of April, 15th of April, David, don't you do those things? Maybe you don't.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, you've done that. But we actually do have a rhythm. So it's about applying that rhythm to ourselves. That's the, thank you, Philip. This is interactive. Great. So I want to talk about the 4 well springs of energy. So I mentioned earlier, time is finite. It's funny, we charge our time out, but it's about energy. And how do we systemically or work on building energy in our body? Because it takes energy to do these things, doesn't it? It takes energy to get up in the day and pick up the kids and do all of that stuff. So it's about understanding where energy comes from. Tony Schwartz did a paper on this in the Harvard Business Review. I think it was 2007 or something like that. There's nothing new here. But understanding that body, mind, emotion, and spirits are the 4 well springs of energy. So check in your body. How is my body feeling? How's the body feeling right now, by the way? Good? Good. Out of 10? 10 out of 10, I'm glad. See that? Resilience gets better with age. These young kids at the back, they're half asleep. And so, but realizing that we get clogged up and cluttered because we're wired for distraction. And we love it too. And it's not helping us anything at all. So, the first rhythm I want to talk about is the ultradian rhythm. Anybody heard of the ultradian rhythm? Anybody here last year? I'm kidding, I didn't talk about it last year. I had proved it to David I hadn't talked about it before. So that, I didn't know that, David. The ultradian rhythm is every 90 minutes. Every 90 minutes. So, one tip to take from today is, if you're sitting for longer than 90 minutes, your performance is going down. Forget it. That's why a movie's only 90 minutes and probably max. A football game, think about it. After 90 minutes, even though you don't realize it, you are working at suboptimal level. If you don't have a break, your performance is going down and you don't even know it. That's the nature of the brain. We get tired and overwhelmed. Okay? Every now and then we'll create these little breaks to keep you alert. Philip, open bar this evening. You deserve it. Thank you.
You need a new laptop.
Excuse me?
You need a new
Oh,
laptop.
what a great idea. Thank you. So every 90 minutes, day and night, you are going through a rhythm. Your body is doing the rhythm. And so planning your day and your practice accordingly. So as you go down into deep sleep, you don't stay in stage 4 deep sleep all night. Who tracks their sleep with their watches here? Yeah? So how much stage 4 deep sleep do you get, David, per night?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
6 hours to 7 hours.
You get 6 to 7 hours, but out of that, stage 4 sleep is about an hour to an hour and a half max. And you only have stage 4 sleep a certain amount in the 24-hour period. We'll come on to that shortly. That's your circadian rhythm. But the ultradian is every 90 minutes. And so I really suggest and strongly encourage you to start planning your day so that you use the time effectively. Notice what you do first thing in the morning when you come into work. Tell me, David, what do you do first when you come into work? Have a coffee, of course.
Well, tea.
Tea, yeah. Anything else? What's your next thing?
Breakfast.
Yeah. When you get into work?
I turn on my computer.
Yeah, and do what?
Check my email.
Of course. I wanted you to get there. Sorry, I was like, leaving you. Oh yeah, I washed myself. We hope. So check your emails. And yes, this is your most productive time of the day. This is when your energy is highest. This is why I'm now in this afternoon slot with you. Don't worry, we might be doing a Hindu squad again in a minute. But so look at when you're doing your day, your first thing in the morning, you've got the most energy and you're allowing somebody else's agenda to creep into your day. Now that's fine, if that is your job. But I can guarantee it's more for the novelty than for anything else. You're like, oh, who wrote to me? I love spam. I can just like delete. The whole thing is amazing. Like sometimes I get a big string of emails and there's like one email in the middle of it I've got to try and find. So, starting to chunk your time and make sure that you plan your day effectively is going to make a huge difference on your energy. I often recommend you eat the frog first. You heard that phrase? Yeah. So get that important job out of the way first, that important meeting, that important performance review, whatever it is, and do it first. The most important thing is going to free your energy. Again, notice your energy is affected in the 4 different levels. So as you sit during the day, notice your posture. Notice, how am I breathing? Am I holding my breath? Who holds their breath here when they get a little tense? Yes, Kelly.
No Barbara.
Excuse me?
I'm not Barbara.
You're Barbara.
Yes.
Kelly. You've jumped into Kelly's seat.
I did jump.
I'm sorry.
She probably fell asleep.
She's having a little nap, that's fine. So, so when we look at the different parts of the day, I've put in a few like little micro breaks, stretch breaks. It's really important to start to plan your day. And then, who gets urgent things that crop up, unexpected things every day? Yes. And who plans for the unexpected things? Who leaves space for the unexpected every day? Well done, Jessica. Good one, Daniel. Yes, because they show up with a degree of urgency and they can completely derail your day, can't they? But yet, we want to book everything back to back. We are like one Zoom call or Teams call to the next. Who's guilty of that? We love our meetings. And don't get me wrong, meetings do have a value and do have a purpose. I'll talk about that in a little while. But see that you are not designed to go right through the day and be at high performance. Your energy isn't sustaining it. Your posture is not even sustaining it. Your breath, your body, your emotions. Do you know if you sit hunched over a phone for 5 minutes, it changes your mood? Literally they call it low power poses. So, Notice, if you stand up, you literally can have a different outlook on life. Just by moving your body. Your body actually trumps the emotions. So if you're in a bad mood, or maybe there's some fear coming up around something, stand up, move, shake your body. That's one way. So the body trumps the emotions, and the emotions trump the mind. It's really powerful to know that we work on multi-dimensional levels, and it's also important to know that you can recharge yourself on multi-dimensional levels. Might come back to this later, but so let's look at some of these dimensions, okay? And so, we're back, it's okay. The first I want to talk about is a biohack stress. So this is the parasympathetic system. So one way that we have to rejuvenate the body, and one of the most important rhythms of the body, is the heart. Luckily, it keeps going without our input. It's one of those things, but heart rate variability is constantly changing. It changes and adapts to what's going on in the environment. It changes with what we're thinking. So your body is constantly checking out, am I safe? What am I? It'll go according to even what you think. So your mind and your thoughts are going to impact your heart. Of course, the body impacts your heart. How your posture, it'll affect your heart rate. Your breath will affect your heart rate. Your thoughts, your emotions, all affect your heart rate. So how do you monitor this? How do you master this? So when in doubt and when you're feeling stress, breathe out. Okay? Anybody ever been told to take a deep breath? It's actually not good advice. Maybe it's fine if you're like running away from a tiger or something like that, but when you're in the office and you're like, you're putting more pressure on your heart, and your heart rate goes up, and so does your blood pressure. Okay, James Nestor has written a really good book on this, the New Science of a Lost Art. And people often think, oh God, it's only just the breath. That's boring, we know that. Yeah, we do, but we don't actually do anything about it. So the practice is exhale for 6 seconds, inhale for 4 seconds. So I need a volunteer, please. I want somebody that will volunteer so I can demo this with someone in the room. I want somebody that doesn't have a heart condition. Good one, Daniel, come on up. Give Daniel a round of applause there. So Daniel, I'm going to set you up on this seat over here, and I'm going to get rid of that. So, can I use this? Is that okay? Thank you. This won't hurt very much. Okay, good, lovely, lovely. So, we're going to check out, can you see my screen all right, Daniel? So you can watch it here. They're going to watch it up there. So we're going to use this particular device, which is from HeartMath. So it's looking at, I'll just explain it first before I plug Daniel in. And so this here is a M-wave machine, it's called. So the idea of it is it tracks, using a light sensor in Daniel's ear, his heart rate variability. So your heart rate variability is always adjusting to the environment. And it's affected by posture, it's affected by your thoughts, it's affected by your mood, it's affected by everything, your sleep, everything. All shows up here. Normally we check our pulse, and sometimes we're aware enough to know, oh, my heart's beating really fast. Or I'm angry, and suddenly you have a whole different sense in your body. So we're going to have a look. Does anybody work with Daniel here? Anybody know Daniel outside the room? Oh, what's his name? Nick. Nick, does he work with you? Yeah. Nick, I have a job for you in this as well. So can you tell me, let me get him started here and just make sure this is working okay. I don't want to build it up and then we don't have a heart rate. So, oh, here we go, we got a pulse. Great, he's on 104 at the moment. That's just the pulse. It's constantly adjusting, you can see that change. And on the top, you'll see his actual heart rate variability, which is going anywhere from 100 to 120 at the moment. Okay, and you can see it's quite steep. Can you see it here? Okay, fantastic. And don't worry about that. I'm going to put that back on pause. All right, so Nick, you know Daniel, and I'd like you to give me a situation, maybe that Daniel, he gets a little upset by, and it's something that really challenges him. Can you tell us?
Yeah, no problem.
Give him, like, you're in the situation, you can be that other person, okay?
I think I was the other person.
All right.
Hey, Dan, I've got a question for you. I've got this relationship with this audit firm, and they introduced me to a client. I'm trying to, build up the relationship with the audit firm, and the client needs some help with cybersecurity. So I've referred that work out to another firm, just to strengthen the relationship with the audit. You're good with that, right?
So let's have a look.
Yeah, no, it is more than that.
You got it, Nick. That's very good. And tell me, what are you thinking now? Where's your mind going?
This should be fired.
Yeah. I don't know why you brought him here. So as you can see, we're still in this jagged approach to things here, and you might even see a little red line appearing somewhere. But we can get from anywhere from 100 to 120, and you see on the bottom right, that's the level of coherence. So we're always thinking about how calm and coherent am I? Calmness is mastery. Remember that. As a leader, calmness is mastery. And particularly when you get into your mind, particularly when you haven't slept well and your body is out of rhythm and you're out of sync, that's what causes diseases, it causes bad decisions, it causes problems. Okay, so, and then we try and we think our decisions are good, even though our bodies are responding. We're no different than a zebra on the savannah being chased by a lion, except in this case it's Nick coming into my office. All right? So you can see that there's quite a spectrum of reactions, and your body is doing all of this all the time. Even when you're asleep and you're having a bad dream, your body is doing this. You woke up and oh God, thank God that wasn't real. And so we better help him because he's getting worse. And so let's all try this just to support Daniel as well. So remember, the first step is to check your posture. How are you sitting? So Andrew, for a start, sit up straight, put your feet on the ground, straighten your neck. Okay, you can all try this. Uncross your feet, and just try this. So everybody relax. You can put your hands in your lap, and just gently, when you're ready, just breathe out. Okay? And then I want you to breathe in, and you can do this too, Daniel. Breathe in to the count of 4. Okay, and allow your ribs to really expand as you're breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, nice and relaxed, exhale from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, breathing from the belly, breathing in, expand the belly, and breathing out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. And again, keep doing that. And you can even close your eyes and bring your thoughts to something positive, something you're looking forward to, something you're grateful for. Okay? Make sure you're not just holding it onto your chest, you're breathing nice and deep. So each time you're breathing in, you're counting to 4. And then you're counting out from 6. So make sure you're breathing right out as it comes down there, Daniel. Okay? So as it's breathing in, you're going to expand your belly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then breathing out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, just keep going in that rhythm. So as it's going down, you can breathe out, and then as it's going up, you can breathe in. Really relax and do it very gently. So again, keep yourself present. Keep your you can put your feet on the bar of the chair there, and really feel yourself relaxing into that place. When we take a moment, just relax the face, soften the face, and breathing nice and slowly. So when we slow down the breath, it gives the message that I am safe. And breathing in and out through the nose warms the air as well. Okay? Okay, that's good. Nice and slow. And sometimes you can even hear the breath in the back of your throat as you're doing this. Okay, keep on breathing from the tummy. Push out the tummy as you're breathing in, that's it. Hold. And now really breathing out through the nose. That's it. Good. There you go. Now push against my hand. Great. Perfect. All right, so you can see that just by slowing the breath down, Daniel has moved over, and now you see it's turned into a nice sine curve. Do you remember trigonometry? And that's the power that we have, just with centering ourselves, being present, and using our body and our breath, just in 1 minute. All right, Daniel, I give you a break before we're well done. Give him a round of applause. That's not an easy thing to do in front of all you guys, so well done, Daniel. But it comes with practice. You know, anybody watching the French Open at the moment?
No.
Oh, that was a very clear no. I'm glad you answered.
Well, hopefully nobody's watching it.
If you notice when they go and they do their little break after 2 games, you know they do that, don't you? They have a little break. They don't go the whole time. They take a break and change sides. That makes sense? They stop, they relax, they calm, they're sitting there. They're not checking their Instafix feed. They're not like sending a text to their mother. Yeah? They're not doing selfies, anything like that. So these people have drilled it. They've drilled about letting go. Now, that exercise that Daniel just did, one of the biggest causes of where people don't get into coherence is their mind races off. Their mind literally is going off out of the room, and that's creating havoc in their bodies. Because your body doesn't know it's not true. Mark Twain said, I've had many catastrophes in my life, and some of them actually happened. Anybody in that boat? We can imagine all sorts of crazy things. We'll find it, we'll create the problems. So, we create chaos. So it's really good to know. Thank you, Philip, I appreciate you. Let me get that clicker back. So even just taking a moment and checking back in with the rhythm of your heart rate. Sitting up straight. Okay? Breathing in and out through the nose. And then breathing out. Remember, pushing it out for that extra few seconds. The out breath. If in doubt, breathe out through the nose. In and out. Okay? And, bringing your attention or your focus to something that you're grateful for, or maybe something that your child's face, unless they're the cause of your stress at that time, that might be it. But, we have the power to shift our perspective. No other animal can do that. We can actually look into the past, the future. When an animal gets attacked on the savannas, when a zebra gets attacked, and it doesn't go back and kind of go, why me? Why me out of everyone? No, it shakes the energy out of his body. It shakes its body, releases the energy. Okay? So this was and heart maths is the technology I'm using here. And again, they've done amazing work in many different areas. They did this simulated scenario, a simulated violent case, a home domestic violence case. Am I saying that right? Domestic violence case, that's the one. And what they realized is those people that weren't trained in this, it took them an hour after the event to get back into, 80 beats per minute heart rate, okay? Whereas the police officers that had been trained in this and practicing this, it took them 20 minutes. So they established or re-established baseline in a fraction of the time. So many people here would practice this on a regular basis. How many people would just practice conscious breathing? We call it tactical calm. Anybody? Because you all have your Apple Watches that show you this, don't you? It shows you whether you need to breathe or things like that. But remember the posture, your thoughts, being able to focus, being able to combat any negative emotions you might be holding on to. Do you think you could do this? Yeah? It's worth a try. Now practice up to 8 minutes a day. You can do 1 minute at a time, 1 minute an hour. You will find that when it comes the time that you really do need it and you're in distress, your body starts to do it naturally. You will feel your belly expanding. And I know anybody that's ever done yoga knows about pranayama breathing. Your belly just expands. You just start to do it automatically. That's what athletes use. That's what they drill. And sometimes you got to recognize, in New Zealand, the rugby team, as Chris, you might remember, they have a saying, red, blue, decide, do. Am I in the red brain, which is the emotional brain, and I need to get back into the calm brain? And you got to decide and then do. And I was watching a video of Dan Carter, who's the great conversion taker, free kick taker. He often said the first thing you have to do is to acknowledge you've been in that red brain, and he slaps his leg to come back into his body. Get back into your body. And then you've got an opportunity to be clear and calm and make a really rational decision. And when he's not able to clap his thigh, because he says, if I'm lined up in front of 80,000 people, and I'm going to do a kick, he said, I don't want to be slapping my thigh. He squeezes his feet into the ground. Literally grounds himself, acknowledges he's been in that other emotional brain, and then comes back, and he practices what he has drilled 1,000, hundreds of thousands of times. So it doesn't preclude doing the work, but the second area then, let's talk about sleep. Okay? What do you most often do before bedtime? All right, show of hands. Who does A? Okay, that was easy. Who does B? Okay, we got a few, 4 or 5 people does B. What about C? Oh, good hands. And D? Okay, I think C was the clear outstanding winner there, yes? So the interesting thing about this is if your own screen time is an hour before bedtime, it will reduce by up to 3 hours the release of melatonin. Now obviously some people ask me, well, is the TV the same? Well, it depends how close you are to it. And it also depends on the content, of course. So if you're working on an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, it's more than likely you are going to feel it and your body is not going to sleep as deep because it's about quality and quantity. And it's about regularity and timing. So it's not okay to go to bed at 2 o'clock and get up at 9 and think, I've had my 7 hours. Your body is in a rhythm, the 24-hour circadian rhythm. In that is the 90-minute ultradian rhythms going all day and night, but then there's this 24-hour rhythm. And so during that period, you've got some very, very important stages. And the green is what key hormones are released during this period. So melatonin is that flop into bed. And if you're bypassing that, then you're not getting the deeper sleep. Okay? And that's where we get into trouble later, and particularly with the melatonin releases around 9 o'clock. Around 9 o'clock at night. But we push it back to 10, and we're not sleeping really well. We're not sleeping deeply. You see, the cortisol is released in the morning. That's when the body is starting to wake up. That's why resetting your clock to wake up time at the same time every day is essential. This is part of your biology. Let's not fight it. This is part of the ancient rhythm. Because if you're looking at all of the things that CAs bring to the equation here, which one of these is not important? Even your team, if you haven't slept, your team will actually be able to feel it. They're not quite sure what it is, but your decision making, your ethical leadership, your presence, even your ability to be emotionally regulated is affected. Okay? So, I mentioned earlier about low power poses. How many of you would work standing up during the day, or do you sit down all day? How many of you move during the day? And, so this is based on the work of Amy Cuddy, who wrote the book called Presence. You can see that, stretching the body, having micro breaks, being able to stand up, move your body is going to shift how you think. Whereas these low power poses, we're all very good at that. We get lost in our spreadsheets. How many people would exercise every day as part of the rhythm? Good, good. Because this is like a balm for the brain. That's why I did the Hindu squat at the beginning. And you can see this in kids in particular, test scores, attendance, reduction in diabetes, all of the factors that are related, attention as well, is improved when kids have actually exercised in the morning. There was a huge study done in April of 19,000 children that examined this. This is really important. When we're looking at sitting and being inactive, it's more dangerous than smoking. This is from the Public Library of Science out of Australia. More dangerous. And combine that with short or long sleep. Check this one. You can sleep for too long, beyond 9 hours. But smoking, alcohol, short sleep, you can see is 4x there. So combining some of the exercises here is important, be it stretching, be it balance, be it yoga, be it high intensity has got lots of great benefits to it as well, aerobic fitness. Weights in particular, from your 35 onwards, you lose 1% muscle a year. Anywhere between 9 and 17% a decade. Men and women, particularly women, need to have strength training. Really, it's as important as cardio training. Okay? So I'm going to move quickly now because on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your energy doing right now? I can see I've got to pick it up very quickly here, okay? So, do you think your energy influences your decision making? Sometimes, okay, most probably sometimes. Okay, well this was a study done of judges in Israel. And if you went in for your parole hearing first thing in the morning, you had a 70% chance of going home. Okay? Now this was a group of judges who said, no, it doesn't affect it. Like other things affect it and all of that, but I'm applying the law here, so it's not going to change the decision. And so the researchers looked at this for over a year. And they were trying to see was there any biasness in the judgments. Instead, what they found out, so what do you think? Do you think as it went in later in the day, do you think people defaulted more into the negative bias or into positive? Do you think they let people get away with it later in the day? Or did it go the opposite way?
Opposite way.
The opposite way. Why is that, Shane?
I don't know, the whole cycle got out of whack.
Everything is out of whack, and we are wired for negativity bias. If you're not doing something to stimulate positive emotions, you're going to default to negative, more than likely. So you need to work on this, guys. You need to keep yourself straight. You need to talk to yourself like an adult and say, no. So this is where cultivating positive emotions, even just gratitude, simple little things you build into your day, build passion into it, build gratitude, whatever it might be. If you get angry, then the antidote for that, is calmness. If you have craving and you're never happy with anything, then start to practice gratitude. Because over the course of the day, you will become more negatively defaulted. You will default back, and so you will presume the worst thing. So if you went in the evening, you were going back to prison. Okay? Now the little spikes during the day came with lunch and coffee. So having regular breaks really does matter. And it does make a difference. In fact, I had one guy in New Zealand in a course, and he chopped his fingers off with a saw. And he was asked in the hospital, did you miss your smoko, which is tea break in the morning, your smoko? And he had. So this is where the importance of taking breaks. Who here would go through the day without taking breaks or maybe eating lunch at their desk. And that's a little worrying. That's more than what I even expected. So this is where you're not a machine, you're not AI, okay? You're not machine learning here. So let's recharge like an athlete. And this is the cost of not taking breaks on your brain, measured by an EEG cap. There's more stress when you're doing back-to-back meetings. And, so having a little micro break, stretching your body, moving it, walking outside. In fact, according to Stanford, your creativity goes up 40% when you're walking. Interesting enough, when you walk with others in your team, and when you're like walking in step, it's like dancing together. There's a synchronization, which equals more cooperation, more building of trust, more feeling of connectedness. We want this with our teams. So why not start to build it into your day? It's an important rhythm, even the rhythm of walking. The rhythm of building energy through your interactions. How often would you have energetic interactions in your day, your week? A, B, C, or D, which? Shout it out. A, more than once a day. So really look at what gives you energy. This was another study done in New Zealand, looking at, social connectedness was a better predictor of mental health than mental health was of social connectedness. So, we're social beings. We need to connect with people, and finding the time that gives you energy. Make sure you build it into your day. And, think about the last time you practiced that. I'm coming to the end now, David, you'll be happy. Natural rhythms. Nature is our greatest teacher in this. This is Shinyan Yoku, a Japanese term that talks about, at one with nature, forest bathing. So it's been demonstrated to have a reduction in cardiovascular disease, improving immunity function. On every level, getting out into nature without devices is important. Literally resetting the clock and letting nature help you get through this. So nature is a great teacher. The other rhythm to think about is your focus. The brain is in a natural rhythm of attention. It's one of the behavioral rhythms of the brain. When we're not focused, our brain goes into default mode. It does it naturally. It's part of the resting, laying down memories and learning. When we get really distracted, our brain actually doesn't like it. You have to use more areas of your brain to concentrate. So, if you're constantly distracted, it impacts the anterior cingulate. And so this is where, if you're overloaded, if you're multitasking, it leads to this part of the brain, and it slows down your emotional reactions in certain cases. Okay, it can damage that part of the brain responsible for emotional control. So really the important thing is to stay on task and find out what is the one thing you want to do. And this is a new book that's just been released. Block a deep work session where you actually close everything off. You don't allow yourself to be distractible. That's why it's called indistractable. Okay? So that's a new book that's just been released there. So I'll scroll through this. This is a cognitive risk and cognitive failure. And as we go down that resilient spiral, you see that we get into a freeze, fight, or flight mode. This is our body's reaction to situations. And this leads not only to emotional, but physical illness. In New Zealand, we did a study of 300 executives at one stage. 80 of them had the symptoms of clinical depression, and only 5 of them actually knew it. So we are just continuing, and we don't know. The important thing about this training and learning how to build resilience is getting into flow, getting into the present moment, and starting to realize how much time we waste in the past and in the future. And so the final part is your brain is in rhythm. It wants to relax and build in recovery. If we don't, we think we can keep performance up, but we won't. And this is important for your team, to know it in your team as well. You cannot keep on peak performance. You will go down the other side. So build in relaxation. Every elite athlete sports team builds in relaxation into their program. How much do you do that? When you complete a job, do you actually relax? Have structured time off for you and your team. Know what your non-negotiables are each day. What are the things that you're going to actually take on and complete? Completion is important. So these are just some of the criteria for building flow in your team. But you do need to have built the rhythm in your body, mind, and emotions to get into this state of flow. Flow is maximized when you are able to take other perspectives, and also you can bring creative problem solving to the picture. That's what CAs can do, because we enjoy that. Then you don't need to be crunching the numbers. You don't need to be doing all the day-to-day stuff. You bring your skills to that higher challenge of creative problem solving, which has an intrinsic, we call it autotelic. It's rewarding when you get it fixed, when you solve the problem. And that leads to adaptive flexibility, okay? So the adaptive flexibility is really being able to adapt to whatever situation is arising. And let me just look, I think there's only about 2 slides left here, yeah. So when you are in flow, your productivity goes up 500%. And as a team, you can go up 200%. So think about how can you build the rhythm for you and your team. So understand what's the 2 to 3 key things for you, and then what's the key thing for your team. Because, you know, I love the book Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. Anybody ever read Mastering the Rockefeller Habits? It's a really good book by Vern Harnish. He talks about in business, there's a rhythm. And a rhythm mixed with data and priorities. So understand what the rhythm of the team is. You as a leader is responsible for that rhythm. And so then you can make sure if the rhythm is fast, it can adapt. But you must check in with your team and make sure they're in rhythm. So for those that want to do the survey, this is the assessment. So get out your phone. It'll be also, I believe it's on social media with each of your institutes. We know that social media is going to be used more after Shane's presentation.
It's also on our LinkedIn.
It's on our LinkedIn page as well. So please take the time. It's just a 5-7 minutes assessment. You will have your own confidential, personalized report, and it also goes in to give us a calibration of it, the whole globe, because we're looking at this across 16 different institutes. So it's the first time we've ever attempted this. Anthea has been a star in working with us from CAW, but she can't do it alone. All right, so please, if you don't take this right now because you don't have a smartphone and you have a Nokia, that's fine. You can reach out to us. Good luck for you. And otherwise, scan that and have a beer with me sometime. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.